Welcome back, everybody, to the Knicks Rewind podcast. I'm here, as usual, with the co-host, Owen Smith. I'm Johnny Curvin.
Hello.
And it's been a tough day for us and Knicks fans around the globe, knowing we fell back 2 slots, although this was the second most likely outcome in the lottery. But we have the 8th pick, so we're going to talk about the lottery. We're going to talk about the bubble, because we haven't done a show since our preview before the playoffs. And then we're going to do some coaching stuff, with Miller likely gone and Johnny Newman. And then we'll talk about VanVleet for a bit, because he's been tearing it up so far in the playoffs against Brooklyn. So we'll start with the bubble talk. So let's get into it.
Been an interesting first round so far.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think it's been a ton of fun too.
It's been pretty competitive, except for a few series, namely the Toronto
Brooklyn series,
as well as the Philly Boston series.
So for those who didn't tune into our last episode, Owen had Philly winning. And he did say, though, his heart has Philly winning. But then towards the end of the episode, you were like, realistically, unbiased, my brain is going to go with Boston. So I'm not going to shred you up too much, but they just lost. They're 0-3.
They're a hot mess.
They're a mess. And
they cannot close basketball.
They're a disaster.
It's brutal to
and
watch.
Brett Brown is gone. I think we can say that for sure.
He's gone. Yeah, he's gone.
So since we're already on the subject, let's talk about the Boston series a little bit, and then we'll hit each series pretty briefly. But this episode's mainly going to be about the lottery and the draft.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the Boston Philly series, considering you have ties with.
Well, we're recording this just after Game 3 wrapped up. The series hasn't been non-competitive. Game 1 was close, and Game 3 was pretty close. But Philly it's just so predictable. They just squander it every single time in the last 2 minutes. And because Embiid makes some stupid pass or takes some stupid shot or tries to draw a foul and doesn't get called for it or doesn't get the call, and they just flame out. It's ridiculous. They're hard. They're also hard to watch.
They're hard to watch. They're frustrating to watch too. And Tobias Harris has been awful. I admittedly didn't watch most of the game just now because it was my dad's birthday, so I had to go out to dinner with them, and I wasn't able to, watch until the end of Game 3. But the first 2 games, he was awful.
Yeah, he was awful. He was truly awful.
Yeah, and he was just hard to watch.
He was a little better tonight. He was aggressive, attacking the glass and stuff. He just didn't make shots, which was frustrating.
There was an interesting conversation today on the Bill Simmons podcast about if you're the GM, you have a lot of moves to make. What's your first move? Because I didn't think that they would go this route, but they said it's figuring out Embiid and Simmons, whether it's getting rid of one of them or figuring out what direction that's going in. It's would you try to build around them still, or would you work out with one of them and say, you're our future, we're going with you, and we're going to get a great return for the other piece?
Right. So I've gone kind of back and forth on both of these topics. I'll take what my dad says though, which is you have these 2 uber talents in one place, Embiid when good, which is not all the time, when he's locked in mentally and physically, is the best center in the NBA.
Yeah.
And that's not all the time, and I'd say I'd give that crown to Jokic as the best center in the NBA. But when JoJo is good, JoJo is focused, JoJo is in shape, he's the best center in the NBA.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Is a 6'10" point guard who is one of the best defenders in the NBA, probably top 5 defender in the NBA, can guard 1 through 4, maybe 1 through 5. Like, steals, like, leads the league in steals.
That part of his game doesn't get appreciated enough. He is truly like a top
He's
4
a
defender
great
in the
defender.
NBA.
Yeah. Obviously, the jump shot issue. I mean, if he could shoot,
It's a
even
no-brainer.
little bit,
If he could shoot, it's a no-brainer who you go with.
if he
I
could
feel
shoot
like.
a little bit, he'd be a top 5 player in the NBA. But he can't. So that complicates things a bit, and there's a spacing issue with them. And they kind of just have to surround the two of them with really good shooters, and they haven't done that. So they basically solved the spacing issue this summer by sticking Horford in there, a guy who plays center, and
he's just been he fell off a cliff.
he fell off a cliff.
But back
That's
to
a
the
terrible
actual
contract.
question though, if you have to trade one right now, who would it be? I'll give you mine. I'll give you mine while you think about it. I would trade Embiid because of the.
I know. I knew you were going to say that.
It's just the risk with him, and I think Simmons he's already a great.
The thing is, though, is like Joel's been pretty healthy too. Like he's been decently healthy the last like 2.
But it's not always health. It's not always. It's whether, like you said before, he's always locked in, and he's always taking it super seriously, and he's, mature.
Ben does his business. Like Ben shows up.
Oh yeah, Ben shows up. He does his thing, and he's only gone better, except maybe this year. But I see a bigger upside for Embiid, but I also see such a high risk. So I think you can build a team around Simmons, and I think it could be really good. Drive and kick. It's just like the LeBron formula.
First off, though, I don't think Philly's ever going to trade either of them.
No way. I think they give it another try.
If they trade anyone, they trade Simmons. Just because JoJo was born to be a Sixer. Like the city just loves him.
Yeah, and they're gonna run it back with a new coach, no doubt. Like Brett Brown is gone, and they're gonna try it again.
They need to. I'd say they need to just figure out how to get Horford the fuck out of town.
Dude, Horford and Tobias Harris.
I texted my dad this. I think Harris is a worse contract than Horford is.
That's not a bad take. But
5 years, 180.
Those might be the two hardest contracts in the NBA to trade right now.
I think Harris is tougher than Horford is, because Horford's
making like $28 million a year.
It's very incentive loaded though, so it's a deal that's looks super it's bad anyway, but it looks worse than it is on paper because it's a lot. It has a lot of performance and team based incentives,
which he's not hitting. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what the
they
specific
win a championship. I'm not sure what they all are, but
yeah.
I think it comes out to be more like 4 years, like $100 million.
Anyway, that series has been a blowout. It's 3-0 as of Friday the 21st.
Yeah. I think they lost the series the moment that Ben hurt himself.
Yeah, and honestly, it could be a whole different outcome, but I still see Celtics winning the series even if Ben is there.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We don't need to touch on the Raptors-Nets series because that's going to be a sweep. We'll hit that later when we talk about Fred VanVleet towards the end of the show.
I hate Brooklyn.
Yeah, man, don't we all? This series is really interesting. The Nuggets-Jazz series. I'm interested to see because this is the series that I've been most invested in, so I have a lot of things to say, but I'll let you start.
I thought after Mitchell scored 57 in game 1 and the Jazz lost, I was like, this is over.
I was like, this is over in 5.
It's over. But I saw an interesting thing on Twitter today about the Nuggets and their progression over the season. They've gotten much, much worse as the season's gone on. They started here and have kind of gone down the cliff. And I don't know. I just don't Porter's a terrible defender. I don't love their defense.
He can't. I mean, they can't play Porter right now. They can't be playing Porter. He's a horrible defender.
He's terrible. He just has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Which is difficult. And they just have some weird guys. I don't love Jamal Murray. That's kind of a brutal contract. And
yeah, the Nuggets have no wiggle room now because of that Murray contract. They can't really do much. They've got to hope Porter's going to become a star, or else this is their ceiling for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
And, I'm not going to count them out yet, although, games 2 and 3 have looked heavily in Utah's favor. But I'm still not going to count them out yet. They can come back and tie the series up pretty easily. But they've had no answer from Mitchell, who, dropped like 50 the first game and close to 40 the second game.
They just have no one who can guard him.
And Mike Conley just had a kid, and he all of a sudden became the best guard in the league. He was like 7 for 8 from 3, 27 points.
27.
After struggling all year. Like, if he's on and he keeps playing like this, which I doubt it, but if he's like half as good as he is tonight, Utah's scary. Like, I'm just going to say
quietly very, very good offensively.
Mm-hmm. And Gobert dominated on the defensive end and the rebounding and in the paint. He just dominated. He killed Jokic.
If Rudy's doing his thing, then they're really tough to beat because they if they can control the paint on both sides of the floor, and they don't have the Nuggets don't have anyone that can guard Donovan.
No, they don't.
Jazz have plenty of shooting also.
Even guys like what's his name, Niang, and Jordan Clarkson was balling out.
I really love Royce O'Neal.
I like Royce O'Neal a lot too, and Joe Ingles.
Yeah, I know you love Jane.
They've got a really well constructed roster around Mitchell, whose playmaking has improved like exponentially. Clarkson has been great in the bubble. Mm-hmm. Gobert has been doing his thing. He's obviously Defensive of the Year candidate every year, and Royce O'Neal has been. He's just a great. He only had 3 points tonight or this afternoon, but what he does on the defensive end, it doesn't. What you don't see on the box score, it's super helpful for Utah, and I just like them. I liked how their roster is constructed. Yeah. I thought this series would be over in 5 with Denver winning after the first game, but
I said the same thing.
They've had no answer for Donovan Mitchell,
and I don't know if they will throughout. I don't think they will. And then I think it'll set up a very interesting second round series with, assuming LA beats Dallas.
The Thunder Rockets hasn't been as competitive as I hoped.
No, I kind of had a feeling it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I thought it would be more competitive. I had OKC winning in 7, actually.
I had the Rockets winning.
Yeah, in 7,
maybe
right?
In 6.
No, you said 7.
I said 7?
I think you flip-flopped.
I said no. I said Houston.
Gilgeous-Alexander the other day, I think this was yesterday, he had 31. Gallinari had 17. Paul had 14. Schroeder had 13. And they still lose by, 14 points? 13 points?
I think I was listening to the Low Post the other day, Zach Lowe's podcast, and one stat they noted is OKC's actually worse in the NBA in grabbing offensive rebounds. And that's Houston's biggest weakness by far. And so Houston, as wide open their floor is because they literally play 5 out, Harden and whoever the fuck wants to can get right to the basket. And if James isn't shooting well, he can drive to the basket. He's got Tucker in the corner.
Right,
Covington on the other side, Gordon, he's just surrounded with shooters.
And Shea had a great game. He had 31 points. Harden only had 21, which is, not
I feel like he passed well though.
Which is not his best night, but he did a great job, playmaking, getting his teammates involved even without Westbrook, and they won easily. They took it. It was a close game for most of it. I'm not gonna lie, but by the end, the better team or the best player on the floor will just usually wins.
No, I agree. And, Harden had 9 assists. Houston didn't have a ton of assists. They're not a big assists team. As everyone thinks they're this huge pace and space group of guys, but they really just play a ton of ISO ball.
Yeah, and for sure.
Yeah, shooters just kind of wait around because they have so much space in the paint for anyone to just drive in and do whatever the hell they want. And they have good guys who can penetrate. Austin Rivers is a good ISO scorer, but I think Rockets win this in 5 or 6.
I think that I agree. I think OKC is going to take a game or two. I'm obviously taking back what I said about OKC in 7 because Houston has just looked like the better team the past 2 games. Let's move on to Clippers-Dallas, which has been a good series. I had no faith in Dallas, honestly, after the first game.
I have trouble watching that one.
Because of I'm sure we all do.
You posted the Kristaps photo on the Twitter today.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you did, I went to his Instagram and I got into like a 30-minute rabbit hole.
Of just like looking at his old
I
shit.
went all the way down to like the Knicks. I
You
was
can't do that
deep
to
into like
yourself.
the
It's
Knicks
already been a
stuff.
painful day as it is. You can't do that to yourself, man.
That was my guy.
Anyway, Luka is a freaking baller, man. Holy. That guy
Yeah,
is
he's
good.
good.
He
He's
like
good.
he is so fun to watch too. My dad, who's a casual NBA fan, he was like, "Holy shit, Luka
Yeah,
Doncic." And and they're playing right now. It's 23-23 with a
yeah,
minute 15 left in the first. But the second game, the Clippers looked horrible. Like Paul George did not look good. Lou Williams did not look like himself. And
Kawhi did his
when
thing.
you
Just
watch these guys, you got to keep in mind that they haven't played all together and they haven't all been healthy for most of the
yeah,
season. And Harrell just got back. Lou Williams had his thing with the wings,
yeah,
so he missed a couple games. And Kawhi and PG have been on and off injured all year. So now that they're
yeah.
finally healthy, they're just trying to find a rhythm. I still think they're going to beat Dallas. I don't have any worries for them, but
I
I
think
think
they'll beat Dallas, but it'll be
it's
competitive. I wouldn't be
competitive.
surprised if it went to 6 or 7.
I think it'll be LA in 6, and I think that the games LA wins will be blowouts. I don't think that, and Dallas might close some games, even though they've been some
Yeah,
bad closers all year. But I'm going LA in 6 here, knowing what we know now.
I'd agree with that take. I think one thing to watch with the Clippers is you talk about like the chemistry and the rhythm issue. The guys haven't really played together, and you do have a lot of like ball heavy guys there who like to shoot. And some guys are going to get left out and not play their game. Like Marcus Morris is a guy who kind of needs a lot of like high post touches. And I know like a lot of people don't love the saying like there's only one ball. It sounds kind of outdated. But in the case of the Clippers, I think like some guys need the ball. Guys like Lou Williams, guys like Morris, who are like ball dominant players.
I haven't had fun watching them. It's because it's just
No,
PG's a ball stopper, Lou Will is a ball stopper, Marcus Morris and Kawhi. They're all ball stoppers,
they're all ball stoppers.
and
Yeah.
it's just not that fun to watch. So
No, and
like
even like Reggie Jackson's a ball
yeah,
stopper. But these are a lot of the guys that are playing for them right now, namely Morris and Jackson, like who are getting big minutes. They just got them, like
hmm
right before the pandemic hit. So and obviously like Kawhi, PG been oft injured, and Williams like just joined them in the bubble because of his little strip club thing. And yeah,
yeah. We'll move
interesting
on.
to watch.
It's I can't wait to watch that game after we've wrapped this up. Blazers Lakers has been interesting to say the
Weird.
least. You know, the Blazers looked fantastic in game 1 and the Lakers couldn't score, they couldn't defend. They looked discombobulated and they it looked like
I
it
mean,
could
the
be a
Lakers
gamer.
didn't say that though. Lakers couldn't score, couldn't defend. They lost by like 6,
Lost by
or
7, yeah.
yeah, it was a close
And then
game.
once they had the little wake up call because they heard all the chatter of that, they weren't playing very well in the bubble and they lost game 1 to the Blazers.
They just fucking mopped the
They
floor.
they destroyed
God,
them last night, and it wasn't fun. Like it wasn't competitive at any point in the game.
no,
It was
no,
over by the jump, and
yeah.
LeBron only had 10 points. AD was, unguardable essentially. Like he was
AD was
unstoppable. He
ridiculous
could
last
score
night.
from
Yeah,
anywhere. He was hitting threes. He was hitting turnaround jumpers. He was
ridiculous last night.
finishing at the rim. And when he's on like that, they're not going to lose a game. I don't see them losing to
Yeah,
most teams in the
AD's
NBA.
like not a good shooter, but normally like I don't his shooting stats aren't great, but when he hits jump shots, he's absolutely unstoppable because he
KCP,
moves
yeah.
like Zell. Like
Oh my God, he's so smooth.
he's so smooth.
KCP had 16.
Yeah.
Danny Green might be on the next flight out of Orlando because he's been horrible. But the Lakers, I'm not worried about them in the series. I was never really worried about them. There was a lot of chatter. I don't think anybody who watches the NBA was necessarily worried about them. I
No.
have Lakers in 6. I think the Blazers might take another one,
Yeah.
but I think none of them will be very close. I'm not
I agree with
I'm
you
not
on that.
looking forward to watching the rest of the series, to be honest.
I agree with you on that.
2 more. Heat Pacers has been semi-fun. Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler is a baller. He's cold-blooded. He's fun to watch too. Like that man competes. And I didn't watch a whole lot of Miami this year, nor Indiana.
Yeah, me neither.
But Dragic was great. Duncan Robinson, like, represent the white dudes who can shoot. So he had 24. Jimmy Butler had 18, 7, and 6. He's just, I like the way this Heat team plays, and I don't think either of us had Indiana winning the series. And most people counted them out.
Yeah.
You know, they made it competitive game 2, but they don't have enough star power. Oladipo hasn't been himself. Miles Turner shoots too many threes. TJ Warren has fallen back to earth with Jimmy Butler on him.
I agree.
Heat in 5, maybe 4, if we're being honest.
Maybe 4, yeah.
It's not a whole lot to say. They're just much.
They just don't have a lot without Sabonis. Oladipo is a shell of who he was 2 years ago.
Yeah, injuries messed him up. I hope he comes back to eventually next year.
Yeah, it sucks.
Bucks Magic. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, Magic stole a game, and I don't think they're going to steal another one.
They stole a game as they did last year against Toronto.
Against the Raptors.
And you know what happened with Toronto last year? They wound up winning the finals. But yeah, Giannis was just unguardable. He's fun to watch. And I like the Magic. I think they compete. I think they play hard. And I like Vucevic a lot. I think he's got a smooth jumper. He dropped 32 and 10.
He's good, man.
He's good. I like him a lot. But they don't, I mean, other than that, they have Fultz, Terrence Ross, Evan Fournier, who hasn't been very good in the past 2 games.
Aaron Gordon.
He's been injured.
Yeah.
He hasn't played. Neither has Michael Carter-Williams.
And obviously, I mean, like, you have 2 guys in Gordon and Isaac.
2 key pieces.
2 key pieces, but also 2 guys who could guard Giannis, theoretically.
Right. They're only 2 guys who you're going to put on Giannis.
They're only 2 guys. Just Gordon with his athleticism and strength, and, you know, obviously Isaac with his length and just all around being a stud defensively. Like,
yeah. I hate that Isaac shit. I love Jonathan Isaac.
You hate that Isaac shit?
No, I hate that he got injured. Because I love him as a player.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about, like, his anthem thing.
Oh, no. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I think...
All right, well, that's all the series, and we'll do another little recap on the series, you know, when we do the next one of these, probably next week. Lottery.
All right,
if you want to talk about this.
We were putting this off a little bit.
We were putting this off a little bit. What was your reaction? I know you were with your girlfriend. I tried to call you, but...
I mean, my heart dropped. Like, I just fright the fuck out of my chest. Like,
you knew it was coming, though, right? I mean, I was hoping it would be 6 or 7.
I mean, like, she told me that my heart was, like, as it started, my heart just started, like, pounding.
Yeah, every time,
like,
every
year. She was sitting, like, kind of next to me, and she was like, I could, like, your heart was, like, pounding out of your chest. Like, she put her hand on my back, and I was like, yeah, this is big deal. This is a
big deal.
And then my heart just sank when Tatum was. I knew it too. I knew it was coming. As soon as we got to 8, I was
Tatum is my nightmares. That guy I can't get that guy out of my head.
The New York Knicks.
God, it's the worst. That was a good impression. That sounded a lot like
such
him.
A loser too.
That sounded like weirdly like him. I'm not gonna lie.
The 8th pick will be made by the New York Knicks.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Brutal. Anyway, it's over. The Bulls and the Hornets jumped us. The Hornets, jumped 5 spots. Of course they did, and never give it to us. Anyway, let me just pull up.
We haven't moved up since Ewing.
Yeah, I know. It's been
that, right? Like
35 years.
We haven't moved up.
35 years since we've moved up in the draft.
Yeah.
The first ever NBA lottery.
I mean, think about it. The last, we got worst team in the league, 3rd pick. Second worst team in the league, 4th pick. I mean, we lucked into Kristaps, but obviously that didn't go great.
Just for those who, I'm sure you guys know what it is now, just a little refresher. It's Minnesota, Golden State, Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Atlanta, Detroit, New York, Washington, Phoenix, San Antonio, Sacramento, New Orleans, and Boston from Memphis.
Do we want to do a little mini mock leading up to the
yeah,
next?
Why not? That's a good idea. I just got to pull up some of the prospects real quick. So we've got some prospects loaded up, and we got the order loaded up. Number 1, I see Minnesota taking Anthony Edwards. Owen, do you agree?
I completely agree with you. Don't even need to talk about it very much.
I think he's a good fit. I mean, he's
I
got
do
so
too. I
many
think he's a great
he's
fit.
got so many flaws. And the interesting about this draft class is after reading and listening to people talk today, I'm not as mad about 8 as I was
I'm not
yesterday
either. I'm not either.
because the top guys have so much risk. But then it's a steady class after that. Like with most of the guys, you know what you're getting after the
It's a
top
lot of
5.
guys who have like one or two really good skills and then decent like weaknesses. But a lot of guys I think who can become like really good role players. But I don't think there's a lot of like differential between like the fourth guy on the board and the eighth or ninth.
It's about
You know?
it's about finding the Donovan Mitchells. It's about scouting. It's about picking well. You
Yeah.
know,
And I kind of I'm in the boat right now where I kind of want us to pick safe. Like I kind of want us to pick.
there's nothing wrong with picking safe.
I kind of want us to pick like a guy who I think like probably will be good.
But yeah, like I remember Jay Billis said yesterday that Anthony Edwards only has a few flaws, which is his consistency, his efficiency, his shooting, his
They're pretty big
defense.
flaws.
His defense. I was like, dude, that's like 4 very large parts of basketball. Like
Yeah, exactly.
efficiency, shooting, willing to defend, are like a couple flaws. Like those are huge flaws, and I like
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards a lot, and I think he's got potential to be a Zach LaVine, or he's got
Yeah.
all-star potential.
He's got potential to be really, really good.
But also, there's so much risk
There's so
with
much that
him
could go
and
wrong with him.
LaMelo
Yeah.
Ball. Like watching his highlights, and we'll get back to the mock draft in a second. I just want to talk about these guys for a minute. LaMelo Ball jacked up 1,000,000 threes a game,
Yeah.
and it was awful to watch. I was watching a bunch of his highlights and games the other day. It was awful. Like I can't even imagine what it would be like to play on his team in New Zealand. Like all those guys who are like men. This 19-year-old kid shows up, and he's taking shots from 30 feet, and he shoots 25%.
Yeah.
He's got
And that form, it makes you kind of think about like honestly, what's funny is an interesting comparison for LaMelo is Lonzo. They're very similar. They have very similar games, despite the fact that actually Lonzo in college was a better shooter than LaMelo. LaMelo's got like a leg up on him size wise, and maybe better passer.
we don't know
Lonzo's a
yet.
Pretty great
We don't
passer
really know
too.
yet.
Neither of them are like crazy. Probably better ball handler. I'd say that.
Would you rather have the number 1 pick in this year's draft or RJ Barrett?
The number 1 pick in this year's draft.
I disagree. Why? Who would you take if we had the number 1
I
pick?
think Barrett and Ball, Edwards and Ball both have much higher ceilings than RJ does.
But they have much. I feel like they have much lower floors too. Like I think
Yeah,
RJ
but
will be a good player no matter
I don't think
what.
RJ has a crazy like high floor.
I think it's higher than those two.
I think it's
And you
higher
ju-
than
you
those
just said
two,
you
but
wanna
I
pick
think the
safe.
boom potential is much higher on both of those guys.
I don't
think
know.
RJ at best is like a 3.
I think there's just too much unknown with LaMelo.
There's too much unknown with LaMelo, but here's what I said about RJ and like RJ versus Edwards and Ball is like those two guys have skills that are great. Like they do things really, really fucking well. Name one thing that RJ is great at. Coming out like he has one.
But that's
big
not
talent.
always necessarily a great thing because both of those guys have great things that they can do well, but they also have such serious flaws. Those guys are both worse shooters.
Yeah.
Those guys are both worse shooters than RJ Barrett right now.
Ooh, Edwards, I don't know about that.
He shot
Edwards took
29%
much more
from 3.
difficult threes than RJ did.
But
Shot better
that's also a shot selection issue then. Like that's also part of it.
Shot selection. Or Barrett versus Edwards is a shot selection issue. Edwards has much more shooting potential than Barrett does.
I don't disagree, but right now the numbers show that like RJ, and yeah, we haven't seen Anthony Edwards in an NBA game, but they have such risks, and I just feel like
Edwards is a far superior athlete than Barrett is.
Yeah, but he's
Barrett
also
has nowhere near the first step or burst than Edwards does.
You're naming these specific things, but RJ does. RJ, like I don't disagree with you that there's nothing that RJ does especially well, but I don't think there's something that RJ does aside from like free throw shooting, who by the way is the same level as LaMelo and Anthony Edwards.
You want me to give you one?
Yeah.
He was worse in the league finishing at the basket.
Also, but that's also he's put in the worst situation possible.
I'm writing a little article and I did some research, and among NBA players that played, I think, more than 20 minutes a game and played 40 games, I think he's second or third, maybe fourth worst in true shooting percentage.
But that's
It's
also
just,
he has the worst roster construction around. Like
that is fair.
he
That
has,
is fair.
it literally couldn't get
Might
worse.
shine, and he might shine with better construction and space and etc. I'm just not ready to say. Like I would say I'd rather have Ball or Edwards. Than
Okay, and I mean I disagree, but it's also not. I don't think that you're
really, if you had a choice right now, Anthony Edwards or RJ Barrett, who would you take? Unbiased. Last year, let's say Edwards is in the class.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think it could go either way because I don't know what Leon Rose is going to do with the current. If you're talking about current roster, and we're going into next year with the same fucking guys. Give me anyone aside from RJ Barrett because that's just not a roster that he can thrive with. It's
But like
so
for
bad.
the future, as a prospect, forget about the rosters. Who do you like more?
I like RJ Barrett more.
Oh my god!
And I'm not alone.
All right.
I'm not alone.
Yeah, because you're biased.
I'm not biased.
All right.
Kevin O'Connor, Bill Simmons, fucking Raha Bell, they're not biased.
Oh, RJ might not even be a first or second team All NBA this season, or rookie. He might not be in first team All Rookie or second team All Rookie.
Owen, I know, but it is so tough to judge his rookie year based on the fact that he had Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton.
But tell me what he did well.
Tell me, aside from a couple of flashy dunks, tell me a bunch of things that Anthony Edwards did well.
I mean, Edwards hit a lot of tough shots.
Yeah, he also shot 29%, Owen.
Okay, we've totally
three.
flip-flopped in this argument. I love it. I mean, he hit a lot of tough shots. He takes tougher jump shots than one.
That
his
doesn't mean that he's
athleticism
going to
is
be a
much
better shooter.
Yeah, but if you're just evaluating based on tools, though, like...
All right, since Anthony Edwards is also my number one prospect, can we continue this for another time? I feel like this has been like
Let's move
5
on.
minutes.
Let's move on. Yeah, we spent a lot of time on that.
Warriors are number 2. I think they're going to trade it personally. I think they'll trade back. I don't know who's going to trade up, but let's just consider right now.
I don't know why you just take Wiseman.
What?
Like, why don't they just take Wiseman?
Spacing. Even though they did show success with like Bogut or whoever they had at center. But,
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Green can't shoot at all at this point in his career.
So
and they don't have KD anymore.
And they don't have KD anymore. So you don't know who you're going to have at small forward. Draymond Green's not a reliable shooter, as you said.
They do know who they have at small forward. Andrew Wiggins.
He's gone, dude. He's gone. They're so gone.
I don't know how they're going to trade him.
I don't know either. Maybe they package the pick and get.
They traded like 2 of the worst contracts in the NBA for each other.
Maybe they package the number 2 overall pick and Wiggins for like a solid vet from a. I don't know who that vet would be, but from like a team that's about to go into rebuilding phase.
Josh Gibson,
Brad Beal.
Oh, I don't think the Wizards. I wouldn't take that if I were the Wizards.
And yeah, they're not going to trade
than-
him. They're not going to trade him.
Or anyone there. I take, and they also already so guard heavy in Washington.
Yeah, but okay, let's just say they take what? Who do you think is the best fit for 2? I think I don't know about number 2, but I think Devin. How do I say his name? His last name? Vassell is a great fit for them. I think that's perfect.
They're not going to take him at 2, though.
They're not going to take him at 2, but if they trade back, I think they're going to target him.
I agree. He's a good fit for a lot of teams. I think he's gonna get taken before the next pick. That's my worry.
Yeah. So 3 is interesting for.
But I mean, a comparable guy is McCall Bridges, and a lot of these GMs fall in love a little bit with upside a little bit too much, like rather than just like guys who can like 3-and-D. Like McCall Bridges fell to 10.
I feel like that rings a little. I feel like that rings a Kevin Knox bell.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm bringing it back to that because like Knox had a lot of there are a lot of worries with him, but like
he was also like 18,
I guess, for whatever reason, because he didn't exactly have anything that he did all that well at Kentucky.
Let's move to 3. Charlotte's interesting because they have Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham, but I still say they go point guard. I still think they're going to go guard because the next 2 best players on the board are LaMelo and Killian.
I think they're going to take Ball.
Okay. And I
got Chicago now.
Well, let's talk about the fit with Charlotte real quick with LaMelo Ball because that is an interesting fit because they're paying Terry Rozier a lot.
And Devontae Graham was good last year.
And Devontae Graham was averaged 19 points per game. He was, should be the most improved player.
Didn't even get. He's not even close. He wasn't even finalist.
I know, which is absurd.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, why is Luka Doncic on there?
Yeah, I know. He averaged 20 a game.
Yeah,
as his rookie year.
Like Devontae Graham went from 3 points to 19
rookie
points.
Of the year. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't. If LaMelo Ball ends up in on the Hornets, that'd be kind of funny. It's like it doesn't
Jordan,
get like this.
I said Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Jordan owns the team.
Yeah.
And Bar.
That's also hilarious, and it's also just like a tiny market.
Yeah,
it's a small market too.
I know.
And maybe that's beneficial for him.
Playing that ugly, dimly lit stadium.
Yeah, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Whatever.
I think they might pull some stuff. We'll see.
Killian, by the way, we're going off a Tankathon's mock draft because I just like their layout very, very much. Killian at 4. Do you agree with this? Do you think he'll go 4 to Chicago? If Killian is still on the board at number 4, I think they'll 100%.
I think they're going to take Benny at 4.
Why?
They're not taking Dave Kobe White. Why would they take Killian?
Because I think Killian is better than Denny.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to take. I don't think they're going to take another. I don't think they're going to take another point guard. I think they're going to look for wing help because they have Levine at the 2, Kobe at the 1. Then Porter has kind of been hurt on and off.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I still think that they go best player available just because they're so.
I think Denny or even Okongwu is very similarly coming out of college to Wendell Carter.
Mm-hmm.
They're similar players. Yeah, I would say Denny. I don't love this spot for them.
Maybe
they have a lot of okay young players.
Maybe they trade back because I think that's the move in this draft. Because I think there's also a lot of good role players who have upside. They have high ceilings, low roofs.
Right.
Or wait, they have high floors, low ceilings.
High ceilings, low roofs. Yeah.
But okay, so let's say they go Denny at 4. Cleveland, they have Garland and Sexton. So do you think
they're not taking? Atlanta's not taking a guard.
Yeah, but so who does Cleveland take? If Killian's still on the board and Denny goes 4 to Chicago, do they take Okongwu? Do they take Okoro? Do they take Obi Toppin?
I like Okongwu there. I think Toppin might get some consideration there. Yeah, Vassell I think might get some consideration because they're pretty guard heavy with Garland and Sexton. Mm-hmm. I think they need some help on the wing front.
Yeah, and I think
down low,
and
especially
Vassell's good for them, and Obi Toppin. We'll see. Maybe he can fit with John Collins. But they also
I think
have
in the event that Wiseman slips,
you take him.
Then Golden State trades out. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And then Atlanta, I'd say Atlanta takes a big or a shooter. I think they take Okongwu.
I want to see Okongwu on that team. To be honest, I think that's a perfect fit.
He's just I don't know about him next to Collins though. They're also pretty similar.
Yeah, that's true. They're both 6'9".
Yeah,
and the Hawks have Capella, so maybe you're overdoing it with the bigs.
I totally forgot Capella was on that team.
Yeah, he's a forgettable guy.
He is a forgettable guy. I say they take shooting. I wouldn't be surprised if Vassell went off the board there. Toppin might be okay. Actually, he's literally John Collins too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're in a tough spot.
Vassell, maybe.
Vassell. I think Vassell fits well with them.
Yeah.
Do you want to say Vassell goes there?
Yeah, I think Vassell goes there.
Okay, so 7 Detroit. Who goes to Detroit? Okoro? Okongwu?
Killian.
I forgot Killian's still on the board. Yeah, Killian's going there. If Killian slips to 7, which I honestly doubt it. But
where did Killian go? Or where did who am I missing here? Cleveland took. Who did we have Cleveland taking?
Okoro?
No.
No. Okongwu?
Yeah, I think we had Cleveland. I think we had Cleveland.
We had the Hawks taking Vassell.
And then we had the Hawks taking Vassell. and then 4 being Denny. Yeah, okay. And then...
So if Killian's still on the board at 7, they'll take Killian for sure.
I agree.
So now that leads
Killian.
to...
Killian, I think they'll choose between Killian and Halliburton.
I think they'll go Killian. I think Killian is proving a lot more. I think he's... I think you can make an argument for him being the best in the draft. So number 8, finally, we're at the Knicks. We have some options. Right now, Vassal's my number 1 guy, but if we're going off of this little mock draft, he was just taken number 6. I like Vassal a lot. I didn't know a whole lot about him as of a couple weeks ago, but
as of today.
Well, I did. Yeah, I mean, I knew of him. I knew of him, but
yeah, I knew of him.
I haven't done like a whole lot of research on it, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, I like him a lot. So I've hopped on the train. I like Halliburton a lot too.
I like Halliburton a lot.
If Vassal's off the board, like what we're doing right now, we have Okoro, Obi Toppin, and Halliburton. Well, voice crack. And Halliburton at 3. Those 3 guys. Out of those 3 guys, who would you want? I personally would probably go Halliburton.
I probably would too. I don't want to take point guard, man.
Why?
Like I do and I don't.
That's what we need. We need shooting.
Yeah, but I have
he's a proven shooter.
I really like Frank.
Well, yeah, me too. I really like Frank too, but he's also not gonna. I don't know if we're gonna see much. I don't know if we're gonna see a whole lot new from Frank next year.
Maybe we will. Maybe this is the year.
Yeah, I hope so.
No, but I also kind of want to give Smith a chance. I kind of want to run it back with these 2 guys. Part of me
you really want to run it back with Smith?
Part of me says I want to run it back with these 2 guys. Call me crazy.
Okay, so
I kind of want shooting. I just want shooting.
Okay,
really
so do you want Okoro, who's a mediocre shooter, but also like has a proven defender?
No, I have a hard time taking Okoro.
I like Okoro.
I like him, but I have a hard time taking him. I just think he would just fall apart in New York.
So who the hell do you want then?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. I
know you don't want Obi Toppin.
I don't want that. We're not even talking about him. We spent a whole 15 minutes on our last draft podcast just like going into him.
You want Cole Anthony?
God no.
Kira Lewis?
I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, but not. I don't know if at 8. I don't know at 8.
I don't know if at 8 either. I think the best thing for us might be to trade if the board shakes up like this. I don't want to reach for Halliburton. You
want to like trade back to like 11 and maybe get like another second rounder or something.
I like Nesmith from Vandy a lot.
Yeah.
Know him?
I don't know. I know of him, but I don't know enough about him.
He shot like 52% from 3 this year.
Look, I like if right now at 8, I would pick Halliburton, and I don't think that's a huge reach.
I just hope somebody reaches for Obi.
So then we can get like potentially Denny.
I want Vassal, man. That's my guy.
Yeah, Vassal's my number 1 guy, as we said. But like at 8, if the board shapes out how it does in our little mock draft here, I go Halliburton, and I don't think there's a whole lot of questioning.
I think Vassal. The thing about Vassal I like a lot is like I think there's 2 things he's going to do really well, and that's shooting and defense. And there's a little room, and he's really athletic.
Yeah, and he's a hard worker too.
There's a little more room for him to become like a really good shot creator, or like maybe develop into like a really, really good player. But I know he'll be a good player. I'm confident that he'll be a pretty good player.
Yeah,
like a starter. Like I'm confident he'll be an NBA starter.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, do you want to go past number 8, or do you want to move on to some coaching stuff?
I think we can move on for now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about coaching stuff for a minute, then we'll talk about Fred VanVleet, and then we'll wrap it up. Miller is likely gone. As of like a week ago, there was a report that Thibodeau is kind of just clearing the house, which makes sense. And I liked Miller.
As he should.
As he should. You're right. But I like Miller. I thought he did good things, and I did want to keep him on because I thought he did a great job defensively with the roster he had. But
that's Tibbs' job.
But after thinking about it, it's clearing the house may be in the best interest of everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think Miller going away is going to be. It is what it is. Like, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world for the Knicks. I don't think like assistant coaches. I think if it's like a body of assistant coaches, like singular assistant coaches don't necessarily make
all the difference in the world, and especially if he's not like I think he did well as the head coach this year, but I think like Thibodeau doesn't know him at all. If he doesn't like Thibodeau, I want Thibodeau to feel comfortable bringing these guys in. You know?
That makes sense. I agree. Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Miller. Just want to shout out Mike Miller.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
He did good things.
Brought us back to like some sort of like respect, like respect-worthy team.
That's a stretch.
Well, we were on his team. Well, he was coaching us. We were actually not that bad.
I mean, yeah, we were like 4-20 with Fizdale.
I mean, we finished 21-45, which is like bad, but considering we started like 4-18 or 4-20 or whatever.
Yeah, it was 4-20.
Not terrible.
Shout out Mike. All I gotta say.
Yeah, shout out Mike.
Fred VanVleet. You said at the top of the show that your opinions have changed because he's been absolutely shredding in the bubble and in the playoffs. I said that I would throw a large bag at him last episode. My view changed at the end of the episode, and it's crawling back to the large bag.
Large bag, yeah. I'm crawling to the large bag, too. He's a baller, man.
He's
and
great.
I don't know if it's just like a system thing. Like, he can shoot the shit out of the ball.
No,
he just like works hard.
Yeah, I like him.
You know, he's scrappy.
So, right now, what are you comfortable giving him?
I'll give him 4 years, $100 million. Actually, maybe less.
Whoa.
I'll give him 480. How's that sound?
480. You'll give him what?
4 years, $80 million.
4 years, $80 million. That's respectable.
Maybe 360. Maybe like 370.
I'd give him 80's a lot. But is it? I mean, 20 a year?
I don't know. It's a little worrisome just with the NBA's like
cap issue, the cap scenario. Yeah. It is worrisome.
But I mean, we're well positioned, because we have all these flexible contracts. We don't have a bad contract necessarily on our team.
It's all
now,
team options, and we can decline Randall at the end of the year.
Randall will be done after this year.
Look, he's a hard worker.
The only guy making more than $20 million.
I see him working well with, say, we draft Vassell, and say we have RJ and Vassell. I can see him like fitting well with that. That's a nice floor that'll give RJ space to penetrate, and then I have faith in RJ's playmaking that it can prove. So like driving and kicking out to two shooters.
Today I did a My League. I had a 2K team after this offseason. It was VanVleet, Barrett, Vassell, Bertans, which I don't think we're gonna sign. But let's say Randall, and then because I traded Randall, and then Robinson. It's not a terrible group.
That's not. I mean, that's not a. I wouldn't call that a playoff competitor yet, but I feel like in the next couple of years.
If you can get some big jump from Barrett, big jump from Robinson, that team might.
And then you got Frank off the bench, a backup guard. You can, if he makes a jump, and we still, it depends who we bring back off the team options. It depends if we bring back Wayne Ellington or if we sign some good role players in free agency. I think there's a lot of unknowns. I think there's a lot that can happen. I'm genuinely excited for the draft, for the offseason, for Fred VanVleet if that happens, which like I said before, I'm crawling. I'm getting more comfortable with the idea of throwing 23 million.
I am too.
So yeah.
I'd agree with that.
That's all I got for you.
That's all I got for you too.
All right. Well, it's halftime of the Clippers game.
What's the score?
Actually, there's a minute 18 left. Clippers are up by 13. Is 60-47. Predictions for the rest of this game, even though we haven't watched it and all that I see is the box score.
Clippers win by 20.
Clippers win by 23.
Okay.
Gonna up that. Anyway, thanks for listening. Twitter is at Knicks Rewind Pod. Website is knicksrewind.com. YouTube, we've got some draft videos. So if you
Knicks Rewind.
Knicks Rewind is the YouTube. If you want to look at Halliburton, Denny Avdia, Anthony Edwards, even though Edwards and Avdia are looking quite unlikely. If you would like to educate yourself on a quick 6-minute video, be sure to check those out. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts is very helpful for Owen and I. So see you guys soon. Thanks for listening.
Peace.